This German soldier would hide every time he needed to urinate, not because he lacked confidence in his manhood, but because he had been circumcised at birth. Since the German army's method of identifying Jews was to pull down their pants and check for circumcision, once identified, they would be sent straight to prison. Mike, among the prisoners of war, was terrified. He secretly removed his red scarf and buried it in the ground along with his documents. When the German soldiers questioned him, he first deceived them with his fluent German, claiming he was a German from a Soviet orphanage who had been held captive by the Soviets and was finally rescued. The soldier couldn't immediately determine if this was true, but Mike's story aroused his sympathy, so he brought him before the captain, constantly defending him, calling him a diamond in the rough. Facing the captain's interrogation, Mike calmly repeated his tragic life story. When asked about his parents' names, Mike froze. He didn't know what names to give his parents. At this moment, the officer in charge of registration deeply sympathized with Mike's tragic fate, saying that since he grew up in an orphanage, his parents must have been killed by the Soviets, and that asking such questions was like reopening his wounds. Mike indeed put on a sorrowful expression. The captain, seeing this, softened and immediately began comforting Mike. Just then, several Soviet officers refused to be inspected. Due to the language barrier, a heated argument erupted. Mike, fluent in Russian, was immediately called over to translate. Unexpectedly, this Soviet officer turned out to be Stalin's son. The soldiers were startled, not daring to handle the situation carelessly. The officer cursed Mike for betraying his own people and spat at him. The German lieutenant immediately rushed over, warning on the boy's behalf. Those who dare insult Germans will face terrible consequences. They treated the Soviet officer as a trophy, happily pulling Mike in for a photo together, then sent him to headquarters to serve as the German army's translator. The soldiers appreciated this talent, bringing him plenty of food just as he took his first bite. He heard someone calling his name. Turning around, he discovered it was his classmate from the orphanage, who pointed at Mike and exposed him as a Jew, but the Germans couldn't understand and could only ask Mike to translate. Mike claimed not to know him and gave him a slap across the face. This simple, brutal action was greatly appreciated by the Germans, and so Mike officially joined the German army. To survive in the German military school, Mike endured excruciating pain, using rope to conceal his circumcision. However, during physical training, the rope suddenly snapped. The pain made him unable to stand. His companion thought he was ill and rushed over to comfort him, saying the annual physical examination was tomorrow, and they would surely cure him. When he learned about the naked inspection, the boy instantly panicked. He quickly claimed to have a toothache and left crying and wailing. Though he avoided the physical examination, he couldn't escape the dentist. The dentist used all his strength and forcibly pulled out a perfectly healthy tooth. In the middle of the night, the boy woke from the severe pain, staggering to the toilet. Looking down, his private parts were already festering and infected.